my friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video I am bringing you episode 28 of Throwback Thursday. And as always, I'm going to give a huge love-filled shout out to my TBT muse and dear friend Jan Van, my Janny Boo. I'll link her channel in my description box. If you have not yet gone to check Jan's channel out, go do it, subscribe, show her a ton of love and support. And then of course I have to give another love-filled shout out to my dear friend and subscriber Dawn for being my ultimate TBT cheer squad. Now for today's video, this is going to be a little different than what I've done in the past for Throwback Thursday. My dear friend Julie, she reached out to me on Instagram and she asked me if I had any like makeup tutorials for beginners. And I'm like, well, not really, because I've struggled with titling a makeup video of mine as a tutorial because number one, I'm not a professional makeup artist. Number two, I'm not an expert. And number three, just because I do my makeup a certain way, I don't know that anyone else needs to do their makeup that way. I'm a really big supporter of doing whatever you want with makeup. I feel very similarly to Robert Welsh. There's no rules to makeup, there's theories to makeup. So I just struggled with like saying this is a how-to or this is a tutorial. But at the same time, if a subscriber or friend or both ask me to do something on my channel, I want to do it for them because I think that's really important. I want to give content that someone has asked for, you know, just means a lot to me that they would even ask me to do that. So I want to oblige them. So what I thought I would do is for this episode and then the next two episodes of Throwback Thursday, I'm going to be doing kind of more of a breakdown of my eye looks and my techniques in putting my eye looks together. I guess you could call it a tutorial, but I really want to like shout out that I do not think I'm an expert. I know I'm not, and I'm not a professional makeup artist. So take what I'm saying with a huge grain of salt. If you choose to emulate what I'm doing, wonderful. And if you think I would never do that, I totally get that too. So I thought what I would do is start off with a very neutral palette for this episode. The next one will be neutral with a pop of color. And then the third one will be a more colorful look, just to kind of show the difference in application, which there's not a lot of difference in application. But anyway, let's just get to it. So for this episode, I'm going to be using the Dido Cosmetics Venus palette. I received this in a BoxyCharm a long time ago, and I just felt like this was perfect because it's got some beautiful neutral shades in here, but also some really kind of sparkly, glittery type, but not like actual pressed glitters, just really sparkly shimmers as well. And it's been a really long time since I've used this, and so I just thought it would be fun to pull this in today. And when I pull out a neutral palette, what I'm looking for in terms of my eye looks usually is finding a good transition shade, a lighter shade to blend that shade out with, a deeper shade to go in the outer V, and then one or two or three shimmers to go across the lid. Again, this is just my preferred way of doing it. Doesn't mean it has to be yours, but that's just what I do. But I want to make this pretty simple today. So I'm just going to be using, let's see, this shade right here called, oh geez, hold on, let me get my glasses on. I cannot read these at all. This shade right here in my transition area, which is Phobos, P-H-O-B-O-S. And then I'm going to blend that shade out with Mercury, this lighter kind of tan matte. This is more like terracotta. And then for my outer V, I'm going to use this shade here called Europa, this dark brown matte. All three of these are mattes. And then for the shimmer, I think I'm just going to use one. And I think I'm going to use this one here called Venus, although that's really pretty too. It's called Dimos. I'm not sure yet in terms of the shimmers. Or I could even use Jupiter too. Or that's really pretty too. It's Mars. It's kind of variegated. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'm just going to use the one shimmer today. One of those. Just to make it a little bit, you know, easier. So I do have my brows done. Basically, I just put some clear brow gel in my brows, and then this eyelid is primed in the Juvia's Place Prep Prime Eyeshadow Primer. Okay, so picking a brush, again, not an expert here. Typically what I will do for my transition area is focus on something that's not too big, but not too small, and a little fluffy. So I think what I'm going to use is this one right here. Just this little kind of fluffy blending brush. Is this a blending brush? I don't know. This is from MOTD, and it's says Miss Shady Lady on it. And you can use whatever brush you want. Okay, I'm going to go into the shade here called Phobos, I guess. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's how it's spelled. Just saying it how I think it's supposed to be pronounced. Okay, I'm just going to start putting this here. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just going across this bone right here. I don't know if that's your orbital bone or exactly what that is, but it's basically right above where my natural crease is. Like, you know, when I open my eye, that skin kind of folds in right there. So that's where I'm headed with this brush. And I'm just dipping into the palette, the shade, just to kind of get enough on my brush. Not too much, but just enough to where, you know, obviously you can see the shadow on my lid. And I'm just kind of like pushing it onto my lid. Like this. Like this. Doot, 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 doot. You're like, we can see you do it on your eyelid. You don't have to do it on the back of your hand. Just bear with me here, okay? And basically my goal is to get it evenly dispersed across this area, and also to have a little bit of a diffused edge around here. Now, I'm not always very good at that. That's why I typically will grab a lighter shade to help me blend that little edge out. I don't like having it really edgy right there. Some people do, and that's totally fine. I think it's your preference. My preference is to have that look softer. So that is why I will typically use a lighter shade to help me blend out this particular placement of the shadow. This might not make any sense, okay? Again, bear with me. So I just kind of dip into the palette or into the shade as many times as I think I need to until it's the color saturation that I want. And this is getting pretty close to being done. And, you know, sometimes people will do the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I do that too sometimes. Sometimes people will go around in circular motions. I do that too. I don't know what it depends on. It's just, I guess, how I feel about in the moment of what I want to do. I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert. You guys are like, yeah, no kidding. So yeah, I dipped back into the shadow maybe, what, 3 or 4 times, and I feel like that looks great. And, you know, sometimes I will get some shadow on my lids. I don't really care about that because I'm going to cover it up anyway. But just go slow, take your time. That's my best advice too, is just to take your time. So now I'm going to go into Mercury and just blend this shade out. And what I'm going to do is find a brush that is this brush right here. This is just a little flatter for me because I don't really want to blow it up too much into my brow area. I want to keep it kind of contained to just right here around the edge. Again, you can use a huge fluffy brush, you can use a teeny, or whatever you want. There's no rules, right? You can use what you want. And then I'm just going to kind of go around the edge very lightly, not a lot of pressure, just very lightly. I'm holding the brush probably too close up to the brush, but just, you know, right around the middle. I choke up on the brush a lot like I'm playing baseball, so I'm trying to not do that. But just enough shadow on the brush to where, you know, the brush has a good amount on it, but not too much. I usually will tap off a little bit and then just kind of go around and try to take this edge down a little bit. And sometimes it works really well and really easily, and sometimes it doesn't. And that's, you know, kind of obnoxious, but then you just kind of go back and forth with both brushes until you get it blent as well as you want it to be. I would not say that if you're starting out with makeup, you're going to be the world's best blender right away. You might be. Maybe you just have that skill set naturally. That's great. But try not to spend a bunch of time stressing out about your eyeshadow blend at first. That will come with practice, for sure. In terms of makeup brushes, I have a ton of very affordable, dare I say cheap, makeup brush sets. Jessup brushes, Beili brushes, B-E-I-L-I, Docolor or Ducolor, I don't exactly know how you pronounce that. MSQ, they're all great brush sets. They are very durable. They last for a long time. They're all synthetic brushes. And you can get them off Amazon for anywhere from 16 to 50 bucks, depending on how big the brush set is. I don't think you need to necessarily go and buy a 90 brush set right away. I would get like just a basic eyeshadow brush set. There's usually like 8 to 13 brushes in those sets. And I've just been really happy with how they perform. I don't know that you need to go out and buy a really expensive natural hair brush set right away. You know, like I have never really done that. I was gifted the Refer brushes from Jan, and they truly are amazing brushes. Amazing. But I don't know that you need to do that right away. I mean, it's your choice. If you want to do that, go ahead. But I think there are a lot of wonderful brush sets on the market that are really affordable and work really, really well. Absolutely. So again, I'm just kind of going around the edge, making sure this is nicely blent out. And I think that's good, although it looks a little funky. So I'm going to go back in with this brush, nothing additional on it. There's still a little bit of shadow, so I don't need anything else. And just kind of straighten this up just a little bit, just so it's not quite so, I don't know. I'm just going to add, just make it look a little nicer, that's all. And, you know, I spend a lot of time going back and forth, blending, and that's because I want it to look a certain way, and I'm kind of a weirdo about that. I don't know that you need to do that right away, is all I'm saying. If you want to, go ahead. And I'm going to go back in with that other brush too, just to kind of make sure that looks nice. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for right now. It still looks kind of weird right there, but I'm just going to leave it alone, because you can go back and forth and keep doing things, you know. You don't have to just be stuck. Let's just keep going. Okay, so now for the outer V shade, I'm going to go into this shade here called Europa. This is obviously deep brown matte, and I'm going to put that just out here in this area, maybe into my crease just a little bit. The brush for this, I think what I'll do is use this brush right here. It's more of a tapered brush, because I want to keep it pretty contained to this area, not like really blow it up into my transition part. This is a Coastal Scents brush, and this brand is no longer in business, but I love their brushes. I'm really glad I got these, because I have a set of these and they're really nice. So again, just kind of going into the outer V area and just kind of pressing the shadow onto the lid. I am the type of person that doesn't go super hard into a pan of eyeshadow right away, because I like to build the shade up. You know, sometimes it might look a little patchy at first, just keep building. Sometimes mattes are patchy, but usually if you just keep building, you'll get it to the saturation that you want it to be. And I am going to pull this into my, like the middle part of the transition crease area. Also, makeup application or eyeshadow application is very dependent upon whether or not you have hooded eyelids or not. If you don't have hooded lids, I do. If you don't, then, you know, your application process might be a little different than mine. So again, that's another reason why I haven't really said, okay, this is a tutorial and this is how you should do your makeup, because I don't know how you should do your makeup. I don't ever come on, I really do not come on to my channel and create a makeup look thinking that anyone else is going to do their makeup the way I do it. I'm basically just showing you how I do my makeup or my eye look, whatever, and then chatting with you guys. If you choose to try to recreate one of my looks, I'm so flattered by that. I'm blown away by it, but I've never sat here thinking that that's what somebody would do or should do, or no. I'm just have a makeup channel because I like makeup. So if I can be an inspiration to someone, that's awesome, but that's not my intention necessarily, you know. So I know I'm not really talking about what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going into the pan, tapping off a little bit, and then just, I mean, I guess you can see what I'm doing. Just kind of pushing the shadow onto the lid and then kind of going around in circular motions to blend out the edge here. Okay. Now, I'm done with that for now, but what I see when I look in the mirror is that there's kind of a harsh edge right there. and I don't like that. So I'm going to go back in with this brush. I'll start off without anything on it additional, but I might add some. So let's just go here, or I'll go here, whatever. And just kind of go around pushing, kind of blending and pushing around the outer edge of that dark brown shade, just to make sure that's blended out a little bit more, not quite so harsh. Again, this is just my preference. It may not be yours. And that looks pretty good. I like it. Although now I feel like that's edgy, so I'm going to go back in a little bit with the Mercury shade, that lighter tan, and just blend a little bit more. Add just a little bit of that and blend it a little bit. And I do like to kind of go all the way around just to make sure it's blended nicely, that's all. I don't know that it's necessary, but I do that. I do it. Do. Okay, I think that looks really nice. I really like that. I think everything's blended well together, although it still looks a little funny right there. Yeah. Okay. No, I like that better. Looks blended nicely and everything's kind of just jiving together. So there's a couple things that you can do when you're first getting started is if you're nervous about putting too light of a shimmer shade across the lid because you think it might look funny, you can stick to, like, I could go into this shade here, which is closer in tone to these, or that one even, this one. But I do like to have some brightness to the lid. I do, not always, but I usually do. And usually what I'll do is put a darker shimmer out here, like more of a satin shade, and then a lighter shimmer towards the front. But today we're just gonna make this real quick and easy. So I'm gonna go into Venus, this beautiful shade here. It's kind of like a pink and champagne tan color. And for this particular part of the look for my brush, I think what I'll do is use this one here. This is a Jessup brush, and it's just a flat, but a little fluff, well, not fluffy. It's more compact, and it's flat, but it's got, you know, can you see it's got a little bit of fluff kind of to it? And I'm just going to go into the shade and, you know, coat it pretty good. So there's, you know, pretty decent amount. And I'm going to spray my brush. You do not have to spray your brush. I use, this is the Final Treat setting spray. I don't even know what the brand is. Or is that the brand? And I just go a couple little spritzes. The reason why I do this is because it just helps the shimmer stay on my lid, not so much fallout. And also I think it makes it look a little bit more metallic in some cases. So what I do is I pull my lid over a little bit because I'm a little older now, giving myself wrinkles. I pull my lid over this way a little bit and I just start applying the shimmer to the lid. And this is really pretty. Yeah, it's got a really nice kind of a peachy, light peachy color, and then like a champagne-y color. That's really nice. And I think, I mean, it looks like I used this shade. I don't remember. I don't remember what I did with this palette in the past. And, you know, you might get some fallout. I don't put my face makeup on first. So, it doesn't matter to me. I could just take a wipe or a cloth or something and just wipe off the excess that's falling onto my face. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of like going back and forth right here so that there's, I don't know how to word it. Not demarcation, but just kind of like a line where the shimmer is. Does that make any sense? I don't know. This is not easy. It's not easy to do a tutorial for me. I don't know why. It just seems strange. And I'm just kind of going around the edge here and then just kind of patting it right where the shimmer and the matte hook up. Because what I don't want is I don't want a big line right here necessarily between the shimmer and the matte. I want it to be more cohesive. And this brush is not maybe the best for this, honestly. So I think I'm just gonna go in with my finger. And again, this is a technique that I think some people don't love to do. You can use a sponge tip applicator. You can just use a different brush, but I really like going in with a finger and just adding more of the pigment onto the lid. I think it just adheres better, and I think it makes the shade stand out more. And this is like almost like a putty type shimmer. See what it's doing? Like when I push onto it, it's like, huh, interesting. It's interesting. I don't remember it being like that, but I haven't used this in a long time. So again, I'm just kind of, you know, adding the shade onto the lid with my finger, just kind of smushing it on. That's really pretty. And then I'll go back in with the brush and just kind of straighten it up a little bit, make it look a little nicer. What I do also try to do, although I fail with this endeavor quite often, is I want to bring it up over that fold, that crease in my eye. I do want to bring it up a little bit over that because my eyes are hooded, and when I open and shut my eyes, it's going to travel that shimmer up higher anyway. So yeah. And again, if you do not have hooded eyes, it's not going to matter, but I do. Okay, so now what I always do is I go back in with the brush that I used for the outer V shade, and I'm going to add a little bit more onto the brush and just kind of go back and kind of feather it back and forth to get rid of that real harsh line between the shimmer and the matte. Just so it looks a little nicer, not quite so shimmer matte, you know. And sometimes I can get that to work really well, and other times I can't. And if I can't get that to work really well and I don't like how it's looking, I will just go in with like the shade here, say, the satin shade, and go all the way out to the end with that. Or you can just keep going out to the end of the lid with this shade, whatever, doesn't matter. But that's what I typically will do. And I think this is looking pretty good, so I don't necessarily feel like I need to do that today. And just kind of continue to make that look just, I don't know, more cohesive. And now I'm going to go back in one more time into this shade here, Phobos, just a teeny tiny bit, tap quite a bit of it off, and then just go around the edge of the shimmer, not necessarily onto the shimmer, just around the edge, just very lightly, just kind of patting it. And then let's go around one more time with Venus, or Mercury, not Venus, Mercury. And then just make sure that's nicely blended out around the edge, and I am done. Okay, so I am done. I'm done. I'm gonna go clean this up a little bit, do my other eye, the rest of my face. I will come back. So this, of course, is my finished look, and I really like it. It's a really simple, but I think pretty neutral look. I did realize though, after I had put everything on, that I didn't show how I do my lower lash lines. So the next episode, I will try to get out of autopilot mode and show you how I do my lower lash lines as well. That might have been helpful, maybe not. I'll talk you through what I did, but next episode, I'll show you what I do. Okay, so let me show you everything I have on my face today. I just used this as my base product. This is the Maybelline New York Dream BB Fresh BB Cream in medium. I've been using a ton of this. This is almost gone, or I've been using it for a while now, but I still feel like there's some in here. Like I think it's gone. I sit down to do my makeup and there's still some in here. I think the cats come in and refill this while I'm at work. For my powder, I use the CoverGirl Clean Professional Loose Setting Powder in Translucent, trying to use this all the way up. Let's see here. For my mascara, I use the L'Oreal Paris Voluminous Butterfly Mascara. This is so fun. I love it. I forgot I had it. On my lips, I use the Beauty Moon Cosmetics Liquid Lipstick in the shade 01. I just thought the kind of terracotta shade would look really nice with my eye look today, and I love Beauty Moon Cosmetics Lippies. So nice. For my blush, I use the BH Cosmetics Bellini palette. I use 2 shades. Started off with Peach of Cake, and then I thought I'd just lighten it up just a little bit with Georgia Peach. And I don't think I've ever used Georgia Peach before, so I don't know why. I think I thought it was too light, but you can combine blush shades. You really can do that. So now let's talk about the palette. Is that it? I did not use a bronzer. I think that's it. Okay, so now for the palette, Dido Cosmetics Venus palette. And I really like how this palette is laid out. This palette kind of got a little bit of hate for the way it's laid out, but I think it's cute because people thought there was a lot of empty space. I don't know. I like it. It's fun to have a differently laid out palette than the usual. So on my lower lash lines, I started off with Phobos. I use this brush right here. It's, you know, more compact, but a little fluffy. Just dipped into that and then just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth across both lower lash lines. Then I use this brush right here, just a little angled brush. I think this is for your brows, but I use these for eyeliner, for when I'm going to use shadow as an eyeliner. And I just, dipped into that and then just kind of smushed it along my lower lash lines on both sides. I'll show you what I do in the next video or the next episode, I promise. And then I did use the shade and this brush to line my upper lids as well. I don't know how well you can see that. It's just a very subtle line up there rather than getting out a liquid liner. And I'll show you that process too in the next episode, I promise. If I use a shadow, I'll try to do that. I really do like how this palette performs. It's a beautiful neutral palette. I will say, however, I popped this in my inner corners too. And I don't know that I love the formula of this eyeshadow. The more it's sitting on my lids, it was fine. Obviously very subtle. It does have a shift to it. It's a little bit of a duochrome, like kind of a goldish tan and peach. But the more it's sitting on my eyelids, it's starting to look kind of patchy. And I think it's just because of that tannish shade that's in there. Sometimes that can look kind of patchy. But I really wish I'd gone into this shimmer instead. This has this beautiful sparkle to it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I just wanted to show you guys how I put a neutral eye look together. Maybe for someone who's just starting out in makeup, I tried to explain the process. I'm not good at doing tutorials. I'm just not, because I just do my makeup the way I do my makeup. It's hard for me to maybe explain it, and I don't know that. I just don't know that I'm the one to do tutorials for beginners in makeup. I don't know, but this was really fun to use, really fun. Let me know what you think of my look. Let me know what you think of my tutorial here. I'm going to try to get better for the next couple episodes, but I just really wanted to help Julie out. Julie said she had a coworker or a friend that was looking for a makeup tutorial for beginners. And Julie and I are such good buddies that she thought it would be cool to show her friend or coworker my tutorial. Just not my forte necessarily, I don't think. I think what I was talking about might have been very confusing. So I would say, rather than listening to what I said, just watch what I did. Episode 29 will be coming at you next week. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I'd love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.